This meetup is about the cardiac coherence and how to leverage it and what are the uses for it. Why can you do it? What can you do it for? How it works? These kind of things. I'll start now on what we are interested in today. So cardiac coherence, I'm going to talk of the benefits, the mechanisms to see how it works. It's not sorcery, you'll see. So first of all, a short intro about myself. I'm Charles Clarence. I have a lot of passions. I'm very passionate when I dig into something. So each time I practice a lot and I spend a lot of time doing new things. I'm an agile coach near Lausanne. And I participate also to the agile community, the Agile Comet. Now, what is the cardiac coherence? I don't know if you've heard about it already. But first, let me define the heart coherence. The heart rate coherence, it's the pattern of the heart rate variations. And we're going to see a bit more about that in a graph later. So the heart rate changes in sync with the breath, and changing the heart rate with the breath is called the cardiac coherence. We say, and research shows, that we reach cardiac coherence when the rhythm of the breath is 0.1 hertz. It means we inhale and exhale 6 times per minute. So the whole cycle of inhaling and exhaling takes 10 seconds. 5 seconds to inhale, 5 seconds to exhale. When we do that, the research shows that the cardio rate is much more stable than at any other breathing pattern. And that's why we look at, it's a kind of training for the heart to be regular. And I'm going to show you something about that. So the heart rate variability now is a physiological phenomenon, is something absolutely normal that happens 40 times per minute. So 40 times per minute, your heart rate and the space between your heart bumps changes. And the size of the change, the ability to change is important for the heart, because it means you can recover faster and you can also accelerate your heart rate faster. So this is a very important data, how much your heart rate changes within a minute and how fast it can switch between different rates. It's not the number of beats per minute, it's really the minimum and maximum space and how fast it changes during a minute. And this is a very important thing for your heart and for the health of your heart. Now, what are the benefits of doing the cardio coherence? I'll go quickly on that because there's a lot of benefits. So I'm going to show you quick pictures. There are 3 types of effects: immediate effects, medium-lasting effects, and long-lasting effects. So the immediate effects that you have immediately when you do it and is the increase of amplitude in your heart rate variability. So you're able, by practicing and by doing it, to have more amplitude, meaning you can accelerate your heart rate faster or you can slow down faster. It doesn't mean your heart rate goes higher or goes lower. It means you're able to change between heart rates faster and adapt your heart rate to your needs faster. It also changes the shape of the pulse. And there's a lot of science behind that. I'm not a cardiac doctor, but there's a lot of science behind that. And rounding the curve and making a regular curve is important. You find with that global appeasement, because it's also a breath exercise and it calms you, really. Now, effects after 4 hours, which I called the medium-term effects. With that, you can decline your cortisol. And this is the stress hormone that is used for fighting or fleeing. So you reduce the effects of the stress on your body through this hormone. You also increase the DHEA, it's the rejuvenation hormone that is supposed to slow down aging. You increase salivary enzyme, so this increases your immune system power. You have an increase in oxytocin, that's the love hormone. You improve your arterial hypertension, so you decrease the hypertension. You increase the alpha waves in the brain, so you communicate better and coordinate better. It has a favorable effect on neurotransmitters, so your brain works better. You enjoy more things. You have more dopamine, serotonin, so all these kind of things. And then the long-term effects, which last for 10 days. A decrease in the high blood pressure, a reduced cardiovascular risk, better regulation of sugar levels, reduction of the abdominal circumference, if it's any important to you, and you recover faster from tiredness and from heart rate tiredness. You can improve your concentration and your memory, reduce the effects of hyperactivities. You tolerate pain better, so that doesn't mean you can abuse it, but it's a nice effect still. There is an effect, a positive effect in asthmatic disease, inflammatory disease, and now, how does it work? There's a lot of science behind this, so I'm not a doctor, I'm going to make it very simple. I need to show you a few things about the nervous systems, which need to be ordered before we can talk of anything else. So in the nervous system, you divide it into, you have the somatic system with the somatic acts, which are the voluntary ones. If you move a limb, that's completely voluntary, usually, and that's part of the somatic system. And you have the autonomous system. The autonomous system is what happens that you don't control. For instance, your heart rate, you don't consciously control it. A few things like this, the secretion of hormones, the relaxation of your bronchi, the way your bladder works, a lot of things are the dilatation of the pupils. And this is split into two parts, the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. And you can see on the graph what it is. So sympathetic system is what goes with fleeing from danger. So it's dilation of pupils, salivation inhibition. It stops the digestion systems. It stops also the immune system. And you have also the parasympathetic system, which is the system you use to rest, to recover, to heal. There is some control of the nervous system over that, but it's not conscious. Now, how does breathing influence on our brain's condition and on our heart rate? That is to see with how the heart is built. In fact, there are over 40,000 neurons in the heart. It's like a second mini brain. And this I discovered by researching that. I had no idea there were so many neurons in the heart. In fact, it looks very complex to make it work. So there's a whole science behind this. That's why there's cardiac doctors, and I'm not going to dive more into this. But there's a very important connection to the brain then, and a very important nervous activity in the heart. So by mixing the action of the brain with your control of the breath, the action of the breath itself on the heart, you relate more your sympathetic system and parasympathetic system and your conscious nervous system and unconscious nervous system. So by controlling your breath, you activate parts of your brain that and you activate an effect on your heart that will give the effects that I just listed before. Controlling the breath influences the heart and the brain because of that. Now, why is it so important? Because health is a balance between, there's a very important part of health, let's say it like that, that comes from the balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. If you are very active in the parasympathetic system, So you heal a lot, but you're not active in the sympathetic system, meaning you can use your stress to do things, or vice versa. There's a disbalance that is proven to be unhealthy and cause problems. Breathing stimulates the sympathetic system. So you do it consciously. When you decide to do it consciously, you have an action on it, on the sympathetic system. Breathing out is done by the parasympathetic system. It's something that comes with your restoring your condition. So in fact, if you think about it, when you breathe in, it's conscious, you breathe in, but when you breathe out, you just relax and you don't do anything else. That you can force your breath out, of course, but usually you don't. And breathing out, by just relaxing, uses your parasympathetic system. So by breathing in and breathing out in that way, you activate both systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic, and you balance out their activation. Now, breathing in a controlled manner stimulates the somatic system because you control the muscles in your chest, even your shoulders, your attitude, the way your mouth works, your nose works, and so on. So you activate also the somatic system. So you have a full activation of all the important parts of the nervous system. So that way, breathing in and breathing out contributes to balancing your different nervous systems. And this was not as long as I thought. So I hope it was clear and not too much details. If you want to look into it, there's a lot of information on the net about it. And now we are going to do it together because it's good to talk about it. Like a lot of things, it's better to do it. So let me give you the instructions and then we're going to practice it together. So first, I need you to sit in a comfortable posture. So sit straight in a comfortable environment. Make sure your legs are rested. You are in a nice posture. Your arms also can be rested, and you sit straight. What we're going to do is during 5 minutes, 6 breathing cycles per minute. When you do it on your own, it's really advised to repeat it 3 times a day. So you do it in the morning, you do it after lunch, and you do it before the evening. So after lunch, it helps you recover from the lunch and then go on about your day. And before sleeping helps you sleep. And that way, you split your days in several slices of 4 hours, which is the duration that is shown to be the medium-lasting duration effect. So that way you are fully covered with these 3 times of practices with the medium-term effects during your day. So I think I have a little video to show you. There we go. So this is going to last 5 minutes. This little video is there to help us find the pace, and there's also going to have a background music, so it's going to be nice. I hope you like it. And we just do that together. So you breathe in calmly. It lasts 5 seconds to breathe in. You breathe out calmly. It lasts 5 seconds. You just enjoy the music, and we do that together for 5 minutes. You can close your eyes if you want. If you feel better by seeing what happens on the screen, you can keep your eyes open because there's a very basic animation to show you when you breathe in and when you breathe out. And if you're all ready, let's start. The demonstration is over. I'm glad you could experience it and you know a bit more about it. While I was practicing, I thought of a few tips to give you if it's the first time you do breathing exercises. It's not because you inhale and exhale for 5 seconds, which is a long time, that you need to take a full inhale and do a full exhale. Because if you do that, maybe you'll hyperventilate. So you can pace your breath with the way with the 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out. So you can take the habit of knowing how much you need to breathe during these 5 seconds. If you feel you make too much effort just to breathe, maybe you don't need to breathe that much. And same thing when you exhale, when you breathe out, just let the breath go out. It doesn't need to be tiring. It doesn't have to be tiring. It shouldn't be tiring. So when you breathe in, it doesn't necessarily mean and completely fill your lungs in 5 seconds because you'll overexert yourself. Just breathing normally for 5 seconds and then you let it go. And it can be just that. If you feel that you are dizzy, either you're breathing too much and you're hyperventilating, or you're not breathing enough and you feel the need to breathe more, as if you were in holding your breath. So it takes a bit of practice to do it really in a relaxed way and to really feel the benefits. Apparently, Maëlle could already feel sleepy, so it means she's really relaxed now. That's good for the end of the day. I hope I could bring that to all of you. Practice it on your own. Practice it 3 times a day if you can. There's really benefits into doing that. It's also a very short meditation routine. So think of doing it, and at least you know how to do it now. So now that we have talked about this breathing cycle and controlling it for 5 minutes with the help of the little video, there's also a little tool that I'd like to show you, because what I noticed is that I often lose track of the count when I do this. I can't remember, if I don't have a timer or guidance, how many times I've done it. Because am I in my 3rd minute or 4th minute? And is it my 11th or my 12th breath? And I get lost. It's like when you're in the swimming pool, you do so many crosses that you can't remember if you have started the 5th or finishing the 5th. Are you counting the 6th because you're beginning or because you're finishing, and then you lose count? So what I propose is a very simple way to count on your fingers to 12. And you can stop at 10, of course, it works. So what you see here in the hand is each joint of your finger represents a number, and you go in a spiral in your hand. So if I show it on my hand, this is, let's not have a mistake now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's a spiral within your hand, and you can touch your different sections of your fingers with the thumb to know exactly where you are. And that way you start your spiral and you end your spiral, and you know exactly how many, you know exactly where you are in your count. So you can count to 10 like this. It's easier than counting on your fingers like this. It's less actions on the fingers, because your hand can remain quite close, and it's really not a lot to do, and it helps you count. So 2 little tips on doing that. Either you watch the video or you listen to a podcast or something with this little sound, or you count on your hand with this nice spiral that I just showed you. If I look at the screen, it's weird. I lose count. But you can do that to keep count and to make sure you don't spend 30 minutes doing it when you only allowed yourself 5. See you, everyone. Thanks for joining.